A high-rise penthouse apartment in New York City just hit the market this past week and priced at $250 million. This is by far the most expensive place for sale in the United States. Sitting at the top of 225 West 5th Street in a building famously known as Central Park Tower, the developer is shooting for the moon with his asking price, and he's hired one of the best in the business to help him get this property sold, none other than reality TV star and power broker Ryan Serhant. Now, New York City is known to hold some really expensive real estate, especially when you're looking at it on a price per square foot basis. But this apartment is pushing those boundaries even further with an asking price valuing it at around $15,000 per square foot. It's been a while since we've got into some juicy Manhattan real estate news. Today, let's talk about the highest residence in the world. Now, I know that you clicked on this video to hear me talk about this $250 million penthouse that just hit the market, but first, really quick, let's just talk about the building that this penthouse is located in. Named Central Park Tower, this super tall skyscraper is located at 225 West 5th Street in Midtown Manhattan. It's the tallest residential building in the world, standing at 1,550 feet or 472 meters. Construction started there in May of 2014. And while a completion date still has not officially been announced, the first batch of 179 condos were made available for sale and being purchased in February of 2021. The building sits on one of the most expensive stretches of luxury skyscrapers in existence, famously known as Manhattan's Billionaire's Row. And this place was not cheap to build. The total construction costs for Central Park Tower were $3 billion. Initially, the developer's target was a $4 billion sellout, meaning that this project would net the group around $1 billion in profit. But over the past couple of years, sales were slower than expected. Several condos faced price reductions. And at this point, it's safe to say that they are not on track to hit their $4 billion sellout target. An entire video could be made about this skyscraper and the surrounding area, Billionaire's Row. But let's just put it this way. Some people out there would argue that this is the most premium place on planet Earth to own residential real estate. Naturally, a listing of this caliber has its own website dedicated to the property. So next, let's look at the one above allelse.com. Okay, so this homepage has got some moving graphics that kind of shows the property from a few different perspectives, which is really cool and just shows how freaking high this place is. If we scroll down here to this section where it says intelligent design meets grand living, there's a couple of photos here, but unfortunately, guys, we're not gonna see too much on the interiors of this place. These are just interior shots of some of the amenity and public areas within the building. This next section here says Excel Development Company presents Central Park Tower, the definitive New York skyscraper. They tell us what we know, that the tower rises 1,550 feet above New York City, making it the tallest residential building in the world. Then there's some more detail about those photos that we were just looking at regarding the amenities. It says there's about 50,000 square feet of hotel-style services and amenities spanning 3 floors. Highlights of those amenities include a 60-foot long swimming pool, a cabana deck, a private park, a fitness center, a wellness center, and some lounges. Now we're gonna look at the floor plan here in a second because they have linked that here, which is awesome. First though, some highlights about this specific penthouse. It sits 1,416 feet above New York City. That height actually gives this penthouse the title of the world's highest residence and having the highest terrace. And the penthouse includes a total of the top 3 floors within this building. It's got 17,545 square feet inside and then another 1,400 square feet on the terrace. This residence has 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, plus another 3 powder rooms. Let's check out the floor plan. It looks like there's a total of 4 elevators that take you up to the unit and then would land you in this private reception gallery or down here in the service hall. On this first level, starting at the bottom right, you've got this huge dining room. You've got a small kitchen next to that, but don't worry, that's not the only kitchen in this apartment. And then there's a small family room over here to the left with some nice corner windows here. Above the family room, you've got 1 staff room and 1 guest bedroom. Doesn't seem like 1 staff room is enough for a property this size, but what do I know? Then above that, a staircase. So if you don't feel like taking an elevator between the levels, it looks like this staircase will take you to all 3 levels of this penthouse. Next to that is a media room, so that's probably where you have your movie theater if you want a small theater. A library next to that, and then an observatory next to that. And then over here on the far right is the largest space within this apartment. It is called the Grand Salon. The grand salon is just a fancy way of saying living room. This is where you entertain your guests and you probably hang out most of the time. Okay, moving up to floor 2, which puts us at the 130th floor of this building. We'll start where we left off. On the first floor, you've got where that grand salon is. Now that's just an open loft area over here on the right. Then going down below that is a gaming lounge, followed by bedroom number 5. Next to that, you've got bedroom number 4, followed by bedroom 3 and bedroom 2. And then passing over the staircase again, we've got a little sitting room here. The primary bathroom, so this whole top right section is the primary suite. Primary bathroom, the primary bedroom, and then the dressing rooms, which is New York City's way of saying closet. I'm not gonna lie, for an apartment that's $250 million and that has over 17,000 square feet of living space, this is a tiny primary bedroom and bathroom. But with that being said, I live out in Arizona. I don't live in New York. I'm sure by New York standards, this is great. Okay, and moving on to the 3rd floor of the penthouse, which puts us to the 131st floor of the building. We've got first in our face the private ballroom. This space spans 56 feet wide by 35 feet deep. Next to the ballroom, you appropriately have this huge terrace, which is awesome. Below the terrace, you have a private gym, which is kind of funny. At first glance, I thought that was a garage, but then I realized there is definitely not a garage on the 131st floor. A study over here in the corner, a huge catering kitchen, which makes sense since this is the same floor as the ballroom, and then we'll finish it out with that same staircase that we saw on the 1st and 2nd floors. The only other thing I want to show you guys on the website is the neighborhood section here. So this is where they kind of talk up all the amazing things that there are to do right around this building. You've of course got shopping and museum and music halls and nightlife and dining and all of those standard things. But oddly, this exact stretch of Billionaires Row, at least from my experience when I visited New York back in December, is actually kind of dead and desolate, at least in my opinion anyway. If you zoom in here on the map, you'll see where the property is located, which is right there where that dot is. And then you can see here that a lot of the dining and activity is just a few blocks away. It's not a far walk, but my point here is that if you buy this place, you're gonna have to do a little bit of walking if you wanna go out to eat, but who am I kidding? You probably have a private car that's gonna take you everywhere anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Not surprisingly, Ryan Serhant and his team went above and beyond with the presentation of this property on the website. I wish we were able to see some interior photos of the penthouse, but understandably, they're keeping all of that pretty private because the billionaire who ultimately buys this place would probably prefer that there weren't a bunch of photos of their new expensive home out there on the internet. Now, if you're like me, you're probably wondering what other apartments are available in this building, because if the penthouse is priced at $250 million, then chances are those other apartments are pretty expensive too. Surprisingly though, there's actually several somewhat affordable apartments available in there, at least comparatively speaking. Zillow here shows us everything in Central Park Tower that's currently on the market. We've only got 12 listings out of, remember, there's a total of 179 units. Something tells me that there are more units that are technically available for sale, but they're just not being shown here because the marketing group wants to limit the supply online just to create a little bit of scarcity. Anyways, we don't have time to look at everything that's available for sale in Central Park Tower today, so for fun, let's just look at the most affordable unit, and then we'll look at the next most expensive unit compared to the penthouse suite. So this one right here is only $6.5 million. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit, and it is 1,897 square feet. The description here says that this is a corner unit with a gracious and intelligent floor plan. It's got both south and east exposures and great views of the Manhattan skyline from an elevation of 340 feet. The ceiling height throughout is 10'7", which is really nice, and as you can see in these photos, there is basically floor-to-ceiling glass in every room. Okay, now let's zoom down and look at the next most expensive unit for sale available in the building. So we've got the penthouse at $250 million. This one here is $63,500,000. This place is much bigger than the last one we were just looking at. It's 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, and about 7,000 square feet. I can tell just from the photos that this one's more special, at least with the finishes. The description says that this unit is north, south, east, and west facing, so it must be an entire floor. You've got views here of Central Park, the skyline, Hudson, and East Rivers. The elevation is sitting at 1,300 feet, so this one is way up there. And some features within this unit is a private foyer, a grand salon, an oversized eat-in kitchen, and then a formal sitting room. These other units in the building are going for anywhere from $3,500 per square foot up to $7,000 per square foot. That makes those ones look like kind of a bargain, considering on the penthouse suite, they're asking $15,000 a foot. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about this one, but I read a lot of commentary around this press release when it first came out, and there was actually quite a few people who made comments about how they would never want to live 1,000+ feet in the sky, especially in New York City after something so horrific like 9/11 happened. Now, I am definitely not the type of person who subscribes to living your life with these irrational fears, but I'm not gonna lie, from an emergency standpoint, it would be a little bit scary to be up in that building if something like the power went out or the elevators went out. Anyways, I'm curious to hear what some of you New Yorkers out there feel about this one, because I'd imagine if you spent your entire life living in the city and around skyscrapers, then you probably don't have these same concerns. It's not every day that a massive penthouse apartment hits the market in New York City that's the same elevation as the Empire State Building. I mean, Ryan Serhant himself said that when you're standing inside of this penthouse, the Earth's curvature is literally visible to the naked eye. Even though these super tall buildings have faced some controversy in recent years due to issues with swaying and creaking and elevator malfunctions, there's no denying that it would be a pretty special experience to be able to call this place home. If you enjoyed the episode today, guys, hit that thumbs up button down below before you go, or leave a comment. That really helps the channel out a lot. But that's all I've got for you guys this time. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.